Hey y'all. If you've been around, you know we're a unit study family. However, I don't really know if I've ever done a video of just kind of the unit study basics, what it is, how you can use them, maybe some curriculum ideas. So I am going to talk about that in today's video, so stick around. I remember when I was looking into homeschool curriculum and I heard this idea of a unit study. I had never heard of that before, had no idea what it was, what it meant, what to expect, any of that kind of stuff. And so my husband and I spent many an hour researching and looking into and just trying to figure out what the unit study approach really looks like now and what it may look like in the future. And so I thought in today's video, I would just kind of do a very small, kind of a beginner's introduction, I guess you could say, an introduction to unit studies, and hopefully give you a little bit better idea of what a unit study is, how you can use them, and then I will also let you know why I chose to do unit studies ultimately, and how that has worked for us this far, and what I'm thinking for the future. So first question, what is a unit study? So a unit study basically just takes one topic, for example, weather, birds, inventions, maybe a famous person, and it does a deep dive into that specific topic. Okay, so you're only learning about, well, sort of. I don't want to say you're only learning about that topic, but you're only learning things as it relates to that topic and kind of weaves in through that. But your main focus is weather, right? And so you're doing a deep dive into all different facets of weather, which also means you're getting a variety of subjects when it comes to unit studies as well. So you'll get a little bit of science, obviously, with a weather unit, but you'll also get a little bit of history. Maybe you get the history of the lightning rod, and things like that. So you're getting a little bit of different subjects. This is going to vary widely depending on what curriculum you actually use and kind of how it's designed and set up and all of that. But in general, they're taking unit study will take one topic, do a deep dive across multiple subjects as it relates to that particular topic. Now, the next question is, how do I grade? What grade is my kid in? What level are they in? What does that even look like? And that was a big one for my husband, because originally we were looking at Gather Round, and there's no first grade, second grade, third grade. It's pre-reader, early reader, elementary, early elementary, etc. And so my husband's like, okay, well, when does she go into the next grade? And it is humorous thinking about it now, but that was a real question and concern when we were first considering homeschooling, because that is what we're used to. However, some unit studies aren't going to have levels at all. Some unit studies will have levels. Like I said, Gather Round does kind of a range, the pre-reader, the early reader, early elementary. Some of them, they don't have them split up quite as much as Gather Round does. Maybe they only have kind of 3 ideas: in elementary, a middle school, a high school. And I have even seen unit studies that really don't have any levels. It's basically just based off of discussion and what your child wants to put in their own personal notebook. And so there is a wide variety as far as leveling and grades and things go when it comes to unit studies. And so that can make it a little intimidating, because if you're not used to that concept, then maybe it feels a little uneasy to make the decision of I don't really have a grade to put here. They're not starting level 1 weather. It's just, they're just learning about the weather. But I would encourage you, if it is your thought and your idea to start including unit studies, go with it, trust your instincts, follow your child. That part of the learning process will come and you'll become more confident as it goes. Now, next is how to use a unit study. This, again, is going to be something that varies widely based on the curriculum, but also based on your child or children and your family and your expectation of your homeschool year and what you put priority in and a multitude of different things. So you can really use a unit study however you want to. Most people will do them in a family style. So you kind of get all of your children around and you're all learning about this one topic together at your various age ranges, right? At your different levels. Now, I have also seen people use unit studies for independent work. So maybe you have an older student, we're just going to say high school, for example, and they really need to have chemistry this year. But your, early elementary student doesn't need to be doing chemistry and is really probably not going to be able to follow along very well. Then sometimes they will use the unit study just for that older student so that they can complete what they need, maybe for high school credits and things like that. But it doesn't really need to involve the rest of the family. Outside of those kind of two ways to handle unit studies, people will also use them as supplemental things. So say you have a language arts, a science curriculum, a history curriculum, but in, say, history, you're learning about a specific time period, and you're able to find 2 unit studies that kind of pair well with that are really fun and exciting, kind of that deeper dive into maybe topics that your kids are a little bit more interested in. So you use those unit studies as a supplement to the base of your history curriculums. Hopefully that makes sense. Same with science. Maybe you're learning about animals in science and your kids really love reptiles. So you find a unit study on reptiles to kind of keep them engaged, give them a fun little extra. And it's just a supplement to what you're doing in your core curriculum, which is animals. Then on the flip side of that, you could use a unit study as your core curriculum. So you can find your topic that you want to study. We're going to go back to reptiles. So you're going to study reptiles for this entire month, we'll say. And so you use that as your core. And then as you go through that unit study, maybe you kind of just do interest-led rabbit trails. Maybe you find this really awesome lizard somewhere that your kids just really want to learn more about. And so you just kind of spend the day researching more about that lizard. Maybe they, do some kind of craft to represent the scales of the lizard or something to that effect. So you're using the unit study as your main curriculum, and then you can kind of branch off of that as you guys are interested in or as you want to. And then of course you have holiday units and even summer break. So holiday units, it's self-explanatory. You could use those around the holidays. That would be a really good way to try a unit study if you've never have before. Maybe find a Christmas unit study that piques your interest, or a Thanksgiving unit study. And it gives you a little bit of a break from your core curriculums that you're doing, but you're still learning. And again, it's a good way to kind of test out and try a unit study to see if that approach really works for you. You can even do it during summer break. We did our very first unit study during summer as well. And I had no real expectations, had no idea how it was going to go. So I just gave us the entire summer to get through it, and we were just kind of winging it. And it turned out we went through it pretty quickly because my daughter loved it and it worked really great for her. And so summer break is another option too. All right, and some popular I'm going to say popular homeschool unit study curriculum companies. That's a mouthful. I just say popular because that's just the first thing that came to my mind. And I feel like I see kind of these often. There are a ton out there. Okay, so this is absolutely 100% not an exclusive list. There are unit studies all over the place. Literally, you can find unit studies anywhere on anything, any topic. But some of kind of the main ones are obviously Gather Round Homeschool, The Good and the Beautiful, The Waldock Way, Harbor and Sprout, and then obviously Teachers Pay Teachers and Etsy. So Teachers Pay Teachers and Etsy, those are going to be created by teachers or other homeschool moms, educators, and those are offered up for sale, on those two platforms. If there is something your kids really want to study, I am quite sure there is a unit study on it somewhere. May take a little bit of digging, but it'll be there. And just kind of the last thing that I wanted to touch on here is why we chose to go with unit studies and what that has looked like and what I am thinking moving forward in our next homeschool year. So yes, ultimately we did decide to go with Gather Round Homeschool, which is a unit study curriculum, surprise, because it felt right at the time. And it felt like something I could manage. I have never homeschooled before. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have anyone around me that was homeschooling that I could ask for advice. And so my thought was, if we could just do it by topic, and I know I'm getting a little bit of each subject in outside of math with Gather Round. You do have to add in math. Then I'll feel okay. I'll feel like we've touched on a little bit of everything, and I won't be so stressed and so worried about making sure it's the right history curriculum and the right science curriculum and all of those moving parts, because I just wasn't confident in myself because I had never done it before. So that really is ultimately what led me to doing unit studies. I'll just pick a topic that my daughter is interested in, because that'll help a lot. If she wants to learn about this topic, then it'll be fun, it'll be cool, we'll enjoy learning about it because she's already interested in it. And I'll feel a little bit better because I know that we will have hit kind of all of those subjects, and I won't be so stressed at picking the different ones. And that has held true. That is still true to this day. I love being able to use a unit study, diving deeper into a topic, and knowing that we're getting a little bit of everything. Also, as I have gotten more confident and we've schooled a little bit longer, and I am able to recognize things in my daughter, areas that she needs a little bit more work, areas that she does extremely well in, some of the things that she's a little more interested in versus others. I have now learned that I can branch out a little bit because I feel confident in that. I've been able to watch her over the last couple of years in our safe space in our unit study, and I've been able to see, okay, we do need a little bit of help in handwriting. So now I just need to pick a handwriting curriculum and add that in. And that went really well. And then I was like, well, I think probably need to add a little bit of spelling in here too, because we're needing a little bit of help in that area. So then this year that just ended for us, I added in a spelling curriculum. So we continued a handwriting, and now we've added a spelling. And so it's a lot easier to start small and add in versus starting really, really big and overwhelmed, and then you're just shedding all of these things away. I feel like it's a lot easier to start small and really learn where those places are that you need to branch out. So it has worked extremely well for us. Now, we are not Gather Round exclusive. It is what we use most often. But we did finish the year with my 50 states unit study. We have done a couple of the kind of bundle deals from Home and Haven Community. That is another kind of company that you could use, Home and Haven. It's not necessarily unit study specific. It's a bundle. So it's like a wide variety of things, but it kind of falls in the unit study category. And so we have done some of those. We've done a little bit, and I've branched out, which has also come from me being a little bit more confident in choosing other things that I think will work well for us. So to sum it all up, unit studies can really be a great option for homeschooling families. I know a lot of people that use them, and they all use them in a variety of ways. It doesn't look the same for everyone, and that's just homeschooling in general. So if you are on the fence on a unit study, I would highly encourage you, just try one. There are so many out there that offer free unit studies, even free samples. I know Gather Round offers free samples. Oh, how did I forget? Another company is Campfire Curriculums. That's another really big unit study curriculum company. I think even they offer some free samples. So there are options out there for you to try without making any monetary investment. So I would highly encourage you to do that and just see what happens. That is it for today's video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon.